dreamt about this moment for so long. I can't believe we're actually in the same room together.
There's a moment in Beaches most women can still feel if they close their eyes. Bette Midler holding Barbara Hershey as the wind comes off the water, a friendship carrying one woman to the end of her life. Back when romantic dramas and friendship stories weren't niche, but the center of movie-going. When you and your girlfriends planned weekends around films like this, Beaches hit with a force nobody expected. It was a time when crying together in a dark theater felt like coming home. But behind that story of chosen family was real, heavy vulnerability. Bette was still quietly grieving her own mother's death just 2 years earlier. Barbara poured herself into a role that made her cry on and off camera. What showed on screen wasn't Hollywood magic. Much of it was care, respect, and the quiet pain that only women who truly love each other can share. If you still cherish this film, you're responding to something profoundly real. These are 20 true facts about Beaches that reveal why it still lives in so many hearts. Fact number 1. Grieving her mother, Bette Midler took the role of C.C. Bloom shortly after losing her own mother in 1986. She later revealed in interviews that the grief was still fresh when she read the script, and parts of C.C.'s fierce devotion to Hillary hit so close to home that she struggled to get through some of the early emotional scenes. She admitted that playing a friend caring for a dying woman unexpectedly reopened old wounds, yet also helped her process her own personal loss. For many of us who turn to this film while navigating our own grief, Bette was channeling the real, raw heart of that pain. And that's why her performance felt so deeply honest. She wasn't acting about loss, she was living through it. Fact number 2. The emotional toll of saying goodbye. Barbara Hershey has spoken many times about the fact that playing Hillary was one of the most emotionally draining roles of her entire career. This was a time when female actors were rarely given roles that demanded such constant, sustained emotional vulnerability. In press interviews from 1988 and 1989, she described needing quiet moments completely alone between takes, especially during the emotional scenes leading up to Hillary's decline. Staying in that emotional space, imagining that goodbye, was overwhelming, requiring a level of courage from her that makes her performance feel so genuine when we watch it even now. Fact number 3. A quiet act of female mentorship. When the two young girls, Hillary and Cece, first meet under the boardwalk, the tenderness feels incredibly real because it was rooted in a genuine act of female protection. Mayim Bialik, who played young Cece, said in interviews that Bette Midler made her feel completely protected the moment she arrived on set. Bette treated the young actress like a real colleague, which gave Mayim a confidence she hadn't developed yet. This was an example of a veteran female star choosing mentorship over hierarchy, creating a truly safe space for the next generation of women in Hollywood. Fact number 4. Channeling real-life vulnerability. Barbara Hershey was going through significant personal changes during the production of Beaches, and she openly spoke about how she channeled that real, under-the-surface vulnerability directly into her character, Hillary. She later told the Los Angeles Times that she had so much emotion just under the surface at the time, and the role of Hillary demanded that she use all of it, all the messy, uncertain, and beautiful parts of what she was feeling. When we see Hillary struggling to reconcile her life, we are watching an actress bravely and honestly using her own emotional landscape to give us something true. Fact number 5. Intentional connection over instant chemistry. The adult Bette and Barbara didn't know each other before filming began, but the director, Gary Marshall, deliberately scheduled their early scenes to give them time to bond naturally. Marshall believed their natural differences would create a richer and more believable chemistry on screen, a dynamic many of us recognize in our own friendships. Both women later confirmed that their friendship grew steadily and respectfully throughout the entire production. This wasn't a manufactured Hollywood chemistry. It was two women choosing to build trust and respect, just like Cece and Hillary did. Fact number 6. 2 women against the cold wind. The big, iconic scene on the boardwalk where they reunite and spar wasn't easy for Barbara Hershey to film. The wind was so cold and harsh that, in a behind-the-scenes featurette, Barbara admitted she was shivering so hard between takes that Bette would rub her arms to warm her up. Bette joked years later that during that scene, we didn't act like friends. We acted like people who didn't want each other to freeze. This simple act of physical care captures the female solidarity that underpins the whole film. They showed up for each other even when the cameras weren't rolling. Fact number 7, the fight for emotional sincerity. Bette Midler fought hard to protect the film's emotional tone from becoming too cynical or too slick. In several interviews, she stated that she consistently pushed for sincerity, for quiet moments between the jokes, and for the real fragility of a long-term friendship. Gary Marshall later credited Bette's instincts with protecting the heart of the film. This film was one of the last major studio pictures allowed to be this soft and earnest, and we have Bette's dedication to that emotional truth to thank for the reason it still holds up today. Fact number 8. The fear of a friendship breakup. The famous "I think I'm Hillary's best friend" argument between the two women hit close to home for Barbara Hershey. She shared in interviews that she had experienced a similar painful friendship breakup in her own 20s, the kind where two women fight not out of simple anger, but out of a deep fear of losing each other forever. She bravely channeled those raw memories of lost connection to fuel her performance, giving the argument a powerful, recognizable sting that proves our female friendships are as life-changing as any romance. Fact number 9, respecting the young collaborator. Though Mayim Bialik was only 12 years old during filming, Bette Midler treated her with enormous respect and care. Bialik has repeatedly confirmed that Bette gave her space, encouraged her, and made her feel safe in a high-pressure environment. On set, Bette would get down to eye level with Mayim and explain the scenes gently, treating her not as a student, but as a valued collaborator. This is a beautiful example of how women, especially those with power, can choose to mentor and lift up their younger counterparts. Fact number 10. A public defense of a fellow actress. Barbara Hershey's visible lip enhancement during filming was heavily discussed and often mocked in the press of 1988. What is often forgotten is how gracefully Bette Midler stepped up to defend her co-star. When reporters pressed her on the issue, Bette told People magazine that Barbara was one of the most beautiful and committed actresses I've ever worked with, completely shifting the focus back to Barbara's talent and professionalism. It was a powerful act of female solidarity, choosing to protect her colleague from unnecessary shallow judgment. Fact number 11. Creating a safe space for intimacy. John Hurd, who played Cece's husband, spoke about the profound care Bette Midler took in approaching their intimate scenes. In interviews, he said Bette insisted on rehearsing anything intimate slowly and respectfully, wanting it to feel honest, never forced or rushed. Hurd later said that working with her was the safest I ever felt in a romantic scene. This is a powerful demonstration of a female star using her stature to create ethical boundaries and a truly safe environment for all actors involved. Fact number 12. The unbearable weight of motherhood. The hospital scenes were incredibly difficult for Barbara Hershey, who herself was a mother. She has said she cried for real more than once, not simply because of the script's lines, but because the mere imagination of leaving her own child behind was truly unbearable. Crew members quietly recalled handing her tissues between the takes as she struggled with the raw, emotional reality of the scene. This profound fear, which every mother recognizes, is what gives the final scenes their heartbreaking authenticity. Fact 13. Protecting the truth of female friendship. The deep emotional sincerity of the film was partly shaped by director Gary Marshall's sister Ronnie, who worked closely with him behind the scenes. Marshall later said in the DVD commentary that Ronnie made sure the women's friendship never became a cliché, constantly reminding him to protect the emotional truth and honest complexities of female relationships. This protective eye from another woman ensured that the film honored the type of deep bond that so many of us had, or desperately wished we had, with our own girls. Fact 14. The unscripted gestures of care. According to Gary Marshall, Bette Midler constantly improvised small, quiet gestures of care that were never in the script, touching Barbara's shoulder or gently brushing hair from her face during difficult moments. When asked why she did this, Bette simply said, "That's what friends do, real friends." These unscripted, natural acts of compassion ended up being some of the most remembered and beloved moments in the entire film. It was Bette's real-life friendship instinct shining through, validating every woman who believes small gestures are the biggest ones. Fact 15. A beautifully balanced partnership. Barbara Hershey has recalled how Bette Midler made her laugh off-camera during some of their toughest emotional scenes. She remembered Bette telling jokes just before the camera rolled to help her catch her breath and center herself after long, difficult crying takes. Their differences became a beautiful on-set balance. One woman carrying the immense emotional weight quietly, and the other knowing exactly when to step in and lift that weight when her friend most needed it. This shows the true nature of profound female solidarity. Fact 16. The true heart of the iconic song. The film's most iconic song, "Wind Beneath My Wings," almost didn't happen. Bette initially felt the song was too sentimental to include, according to multiple interviews. But after recording a test version, she realized the song held an undeniable emotional truth about unconditional love and support. That final, powerful performance became the most defining of her career, validating that sometimes the emotional truth is exactly what audiences need permission to feel. Fact 17. Finding peace in a real location. The quiet, powerful beach house scenes were filmed in a real home in California, not on a studio soundstage. Barbara Hershey said the stillness and quiet of the real location helped her stay grounded while shooting Hillary's final, draining scenes. She often sat by the water alone between takes, not rehearsing lines, but just letting the character settle. This commitment to the quiet truth of the moment is why those scenes feel so intimate and real, almost as if we are sharing the space with them. Fact 18. The director's gentle goodbye. Gary Marshall made the conscious decision to keep the set unusually gentle during the final, emotionally charged weeks of filming. According to cast and crew, he lowered the lights, minimized noise, and kept extras away from the monitors. He wanted the space to feel intimate and respectful, famously saying, "If we're filming a goodbye, it should feel like a goodbye." This protective male dynamic allowed the women the space they needed to truly grieve and say their farewells on film, making the resulting scene a true work of art built on respect. Fact 19. The unscripted embrace. When Bette and Barbara filmed Hillary's final scene, Bette held Barbara for far longer than what the script required. Gary Marshall, recognizing the moment, simply kept the camera rolling. Hershey later said she felt something shift in that moment. It wasn't CC holding Hillary, it was Bette holding me. That powerful, unscripted moment of two women finding comfort in each other stayed in the final cut of the film exactly as it happened. It is the ultimate expression of female solidarity, the moment when the acting stopped and the care began. Fact 20. The lasting legacy of a connection. Even decades after the film's release, Barbara Hershey and Bette Midler speak of each other with profound respect. They may not have become lifelong best friends in the traditional sense, but they built something incredibly real and true in those demanding months of production. Both women have shared that the experience of filming beaches shaped how they approached friendship, motherhood, and vulnerability in their later lives. This film endures because it wasn't just a story they told. It was a connection they forged, proving that the bonds we create when we are vulnerable with one another truly last forever. So, what makes beaches endure isn't just the performances or the iconic song. It's the profound emotional honesty these women gave while quietly carrying their own burdens. Bet was grieving her mother. Barbara was drawing from her deepest fears as a mother. And Mayim was learning what true female mentorship felt like. Gary Marshall and his sister Ronnie protected the emotional space so they could do the work honestly. Back when friendship films were allowed to be soft and earnest, when theaters were places where women cried together in the dark, Beaches reminded audiences that love and deep friendship between women is as life-changing and valid as any romance. If you still cry when Cece runs across that sand, if that last song still unravels you, you are not sentimental. You are responding to something real, women showing up for each other, in fiction and in life. Your emotional response was right, and you are not alone in loving this film. You never were.